Okay, we're back with another episode of Off Course. I'm your host, Hamilton Civitas, and as usual, we got the gang, Darren and Delon with me, helping me on the boards. Today's guest is a special guest. He's come all the way from Niagara Falls. I've been looking forward to recording this episode for almost a month now. There's a lot of people in our business that talk the talk, but they don't really walk the walk. My guest is not him. He really is that guy. He's your Realtors Realtor. His name is Mr. Andrew Perry, all the way from Niagara Falls. How are you, sir?
I'm great, buddy. Thank you for having me. Honestly, I thought when you first reached out, I thought this was like a golf podcast. And I'm like, and then I come down, I see all the grass. I feel like this could potentially be a clubhouse.
So you know what? No one has talked about the name because you're referring to the fact that it's Off Course.
Of course.
Right? So where the name for Off Course came from is, you know, there's lots of aspects to it, but the thing that we were kind of pushing towards is we all had goals. We all had dreams coming up, you know, when we were younger. For yourself, you were trying to be a musician.
Yes.
For myself, I was trying to be in the music business. But at some point, we had to kind of go off course.
Of course.
Right? We had to go in a different direction to build our future, our stability.
That's right.
And so that's kind of the people I'm like trying to speak to. And I think you embody this more than any guest that we've ever had on the show.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, man. It's my pleasure. I've been off course many fucking times. So, yeah.
Okay, Andrew. So let's start right with the juicy stuff. I want to talk to you about your business, how you've been developing it, all the stuff you're doing in Niagara Falls. And there's stuff that you obviously can't talk about today because I think we're a little premature on the news. We'll get to that later on. And so before we get to that, let's get to what's in the news right now, because I think that's what a lot of realtors care about.
Yeah.
The NAR settlement in the States. Right. And what we're discussing here is how commissions work now. Yeah. And so the two biggest things here or the two big material changes is now, one, all agents, before they work with a buyer, they have to get the contract signed. Right. So for us in Canada, that's not really anything new. That's kind of what we're instructed to do. Yeah. We don't all do it, but that's what we're instructed to do. And the next big thing is how commissions are displayed for buyers. They're not allowed to show it on MLS. So I guess the talk right now, the fear for realtors is prices are going to come down, commissions are going to drop, we're going to be out of the business in 5 years. You're a leader in the industry. You help build us, realtors. So what do you say to us, to the people that are super scared right now?
Yeah. Well, I think as much as people are scared, they're also a little ignorant as well. And what I mean by that is every time I try to have an honest conversation about something like this, it's getting to a point where people are like, this is Canada, it's never going to happen. We have more protections in place, you know, we have more forms, we have, you know, more transparency. I'm like, guys, do you not just see what happened with Tressa? Our boards were kind of forced, our organized real estate boards we're forced to change things. Yeah. You know, from you just mentioned that in the States, you know, you're forced to get something signed by your buyer. We're forced to do that now. With Rico, you got to get that little guidebook, right? So exactly. As of Jan 1, any type of real estate advice that you give out, you know, it has to be accompanied with this signature, whatever. So it's always been a thing. It's just now it's like, well, you got to do it now. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Where the biggest difference is,
right?
However, is that in the States, the powerfulness, is that a word? The powerfulness.
Yeah, we could use that. We could run with that today.
The media holds so much power in the States that most of us in Canada know more about the political system or the real estate, systems and powers that be in the States more than we do in our own country. So what I mean by that is that I've already got calls saying, "Oh, so Andrew, you could come and list my house, and I don't have to pay the buyer, right?
Get out of here."
Oh yeah, and I'm like, no. That's number one. That's never a good idea. Yeah, we always want to get the most for your property, and here's actually how much you can net by paying an appropriate fee.
Right.
We just everything's negotiable. Right? There's no price fixing. But yeah, we're starting to see that. Yeah. And we're also, you know, ever since the news came out about self-represented buyers, you know, that's kind of the writing's on the wall in Canada. So for people who could say that, hey, this isn't going to happen here, I think they really need to take a look at their business and be prepared for honestly anything.
I couldn't agree more. I think the people speaking that way, they don't have much value to offer, which is why they're probably scared. When they're looking at themselves in the future, there's really no way to make sure that they can stay in business other than these like rules that we have that have been kind of protecting them. And I guess what I mean by that is like, we haven't had much organization in terms of like on the buyer side, the way you do on the listing side. You guys are offering so many services. On the buyer side, you kind of show up for a lot of realtors and you're just showing them a house, you're signing off and you're doing the deal. I think in the future, as a buyer agent, you're going to have to start offering services the same way a listing agent offers services. So whether that's paying for their appraisal or closing costs, lawyer fees, whatever it is, you're going to have to start bringing value to the table. You can't just record content and think that, oh, people like you, I'm going to go buy with this agent now. And that's how I build my business.
Right. But let me stop you right there, because here's one of the biggest misconceptions.
Sure.
Value does not equal money.
Correct.
For example, or an exchange of services. So if I'm a buyer's agent that wants to do more deals, wants to have an everlasting relationship, wants to get more referrals, I'm not just buying their hot water tank or paying for their closing costs.
Yes.
Now, getting creative and in doing something special, like, hey, surprise! I just covered your movers,
right? And
when the movers show up, there's pizza there. That's a different thing, because that's an experience. Just paying for somebody's closing costs is well, thanks. I kind of expected something, anyways. And so what we do is that we actually have, and here's where I think we get a really bad name in the industry, not us in particular, but realtors in general, is that they do feel that there is nothing beyond just opening the door. Maybe they got a lockbox code, but some of the realtors just give that out to their buyers anyways, which is wild, fucking nuts, right? But where can we fit into somebody's, what I call 5 pillars? So their personal trainer, so their health, their doctor, their inner health, their financial advisor, so, stocks, mutual funds, life insurance, whole life. And then, of course, their lawyer, their legal. So that 5th aspect is real estate. And the reason why most people aren't a part of that 5th pillar for, a buyer or seller's entire real estate career is because they haven't offered that value.
Well,
right?
Exactly.
And so I want you to think of this. If you had a problem, would your doctor not reach out? And my doctor sends me a report. I have to pay for a private doctor to get something like that.
Yep.
But my doctor gives me a report and says, hey, look, your levels here are going up. You're going to need to watch that. You want to be careful. It's a number. You have to stay within this threshold. My financial advisor, he'll say, Andrew, we just heard about this new company that's going public. It's got this amount of employees. This is the revenue, et cetera. I think that if you put around this much, this is what we think we can net you every single month or every dividend or whatever.
Sure.
However, when you're a realtor, majority of us say, hey, look, you wanted a bungalow with 3 bedrooms? Here's an automatic email that's been set up for you. So every morning when you wake up, you've got a listing in your email. What does that do? Number one, there's so many listing agents out there that just don't know how to use the system. So they could be entering things wrong. So your buyer could be physically missing their dream home just because you set them up on an auto email. So if my financial advisor just reached out and said, hey, go invest in Tesla, I'm like, why? Well, it matches your criteria. Well, yeah, but you need to spell it out for me. And so that's what we do as buyer agents at our team, is that we create what's called a buyer file, right? So that file consists of not only your criteria, but your goals. And now part of your goals is, hey, look, most agents will keep you within a price range. So we try not to keep you within a price range. We want to keep you into what is healthy for your monthly budget. So this is what we do. As opposed to sending out auto emails every single day, we go into the new listings 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening.
Right.
And what we do is we open up the new listings and we go through each one. Boom, 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 boom. Now I've found one that I've handpicked and I've personally emailed it to you from my personal email or my work email. And then I've sent you a text, say, hey, check out your email. And so this is how that goes. Hey, Dan, I don't know if this home's for you, but it matches everything that we're looking at. You know, you got your 3 bedrooms, your 2 bathrooms. You said you wanted the 3 bedrooms on the main floor because you got kids. You don't want anybody downstairs. So we've got that. But not only that, we're in the north end, which is close to the school that you really, really wanted to be at. Mm-hmm. But here's where it gets good. Right now, that home was listed at $500.
Yep.
It's sold for $445. This one's listed at $500. It's got new floors. It actually has a garage, but I do think we can get it for $485.
For sure.
So now at $485, this is what your utility cost is going to look like. This is what your mortgage payment is going to look like, and this is what it's going to look like when when it's a rainy day and you need to get your kid to school. You can get there in under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that now that is a piece of value. So you're not paying for anything for this buyer to help close.
No, you're right.
But now that's a piece of value that somebody says, wow, these people have my back. And maybe this home that wasn't so attractive in their first few photos that you've sent them on an auto email, maybe because of the way you broke it down, they're willing to go actually and meet you at the property and view it.
Sure. So I do agree with you.
Yeah.
So what you're discussing really is the value that you're providing to the client during the time that you're in that relationship with them, though.
That's right.
So I guess I'm speaking more so to the agents that are like trying to initiate the relationship.
Right.
So now I'm trying to get this client. How do I show my value to you now when we're in this new system now of realtors where like we're all fighting for buyer commissions? I'm not talking about the current.
That's right.
I'm talking about what's happening in the States.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, that comes to Canada now. And so like 2028, 2029, as a buyer agent, how am I communicating my value to you before I get a chance to even have that conversation with you?
That's right.
So that's kind of what I was alluding to in terms of providing services up front.
For sure.
Right?
So what I was explaining, so number one, there's 2 things that you can really start initiating.
Yeah.
And it starts with, okay, Mr. and Mr. Buyer.
Sure.
You reached out. Thank you for coming to our website, whatever, on 123 Main Street. The roof was replaced in 2012. It's been on the market 40 days. When are you available to go see the property?
Okay.
That's how most agents answer that phone call.
Yeah.
Or that's how the first 30 seconds of their initial conversation goes.
You're right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But where they miss is that they didn't take the time, 5, 10, 15 minutes to create either a virtual or a personal invitation to go and meet them at your office or at Tim Hortons to go over their needs and their wants.
Correct.
Have you ever bought
a personal connection?
That's right. Have you ever bought a car at a car dealership?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So even for a $30,000 car, there's not many of those these days, or a $1,000 car, a $100,000 car.
Yeah.
That fucking sales guy has you there for 3 hours
That's true.
before you go home with anything.
That's true.
You
That's
go
true.
home and you're like, I didn't even buy a car today.
Yeah.
What the heck? So all that sales guy is doing is he's getting to know your needs.
Right.
Why? Because cars can turn over every few years. He wants to know that you were happy with the experience, happy with the purchase, and that when you're ready to go buy another one, that you come right back to him. So it's the same thing with us. If we can take 5 to 10 minutes and do a proper buyer consultation and explain the process, explain the value, and really show up with actual numbers and data, that's how you secure the value.
Of course.
Yep.
You're basically confirming your expertise there to the client.
Right.
So, okay. So as activities that agents can do to keep themselves, I guess brand awareness.
Yeah.
To maintain their brand awareness. Right now it's been content creating.
Yep.
And in the real estate business with content creating, it feels like we go through these different like waves of like what is hot, and then we kind of switch over to the next thing. So it felt like between 2018 to 2020 was all about the home tours. And then 2020 to now, it's kind of like, it's the fast-paced information. Things are getting thrown at you on the screen, sound effects, the Alex Hormozy style of editing. I call it retention editing because that's what it is. How do you feel about the content that we're seeing in the real estate business? Do you feel like this content is actually communicating with people, or do you think it's just more so for brand awareness?
So here's the biggest problem with 90% of realtors.
Okay.
Is that they do what you just described.
Yeah.
Is they do hop on the trends.
Yes.
Oh, wow, this is a trending song. Yeah, okay, this is a trending content piece. Let's replicate it.
Yeah.
Rip off and duplicate. The problem with that is that if you're not a listing agent and your main source is buyers,
right,
if you're not creating content on a very, very, very consistent basis around buyers, you're going to have a very difficult time getting buyers. So now, before the NAR settlement, a niche might be something of first-time home buyers. A niche might be something of luxury homes. A niche might be secondary properties.
Right.
Now, what I really, and I've been talking about this all year in Texas and in Niagara and Toronto, the niche now has to be either you're a listing agent or you're a buyer agent.
Okay.
It's very, very difficult to try to promote yourself as both.
Right.
Unless you have that reputation already or you're a big team or something like that. So what I mean by that, people are getting so super niched out that they're not saying, hey, best realtors in Niagara. They're saying, give me the best buyer agent who can help me purchase a home, or I'm looking to purchase a home, who can help me? And if that takes you to an Instagram account, and that Instagram account is more focused on sellers, they might not, for one, they might not even find you. Two, they might be like, this isn't the information I want. And they go find somebody who has all buyer content. Whereas somebody who has a variety in their content, which is good. I used to preach that, hey, try to do a variety and consistently do a different variety of what you're posting. But the issue with that now is that people want somebody, everybody's on edge right now. So if they want a listing agent, all your content better be about listings or selling or selling advice or something like that. And the same works for buyers. So I think if anybody wants to succeed, you have to stick to your one wheelhouse and basically not move yourself from it.
Okay.
So what I say is that, like, look, okay, all my personal stuff stays in my stories. I've got 3 beautiful kids, but they're not beautiful enough to make it onto my personal or my profile grid.
Right.
My profile grid is all about helping other agents.
Right.
My Alex Ramosi stuff has started to go down in terms of engagement. So I am starting to do those luxury tours and sprinkle them throughout my content.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that realtors are jumping to trend
too quickly.
And they're trying to be a trendy agent. But the problem with that is that if that's the only thing that you're doing, you're not really coming across as the professional that you think you are.
Or authentic, to be honest. Right?
Well, but people, don't get me started with that word, man.
Go elaborate. We got time.
The problem with the word authentic, is that people are like, well, that is me being authentic. I'm running around in my PJs pointing at stuff. Why my clients aren't getting approved because they couldn't because they don't have money and they're out shopping for houses without a pre-approval. And it's like, wow, what is going on? They're misreading the room.
Right.
People, yes, okay, they want you to be authentic, but they also want you to be a professional.
Exactly.
That's your job.
Exactly.
That's your job. You're dealing with somebody's, like, I when it clicked for me, it's when I was selling, for the record, I told them the house was listed out, we should list at 1.499, and they wanted to list at 1.9. And I was a young agent, it's a multi-million-dollar property in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and eyes were on me, so I just said, fuck it, I'll take it.
Just to get the listing.
Just to get the listing. Never ever do that. Okay. By the way, because I spent over $20,000, and by the end of the day,
you were outpriced $500K though on that deal. No.
Yeah, so I ended up selling it for 1.5.
Oh shit!
A year and a half later.
Holy.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I didn't dig deep enough. Yeah. Right. So this is where experience comes in. I didn't dive deep enough, so I didn't understand the actual reason why they needed that money. 1.8. Right. So here's how it goes. We're basically sitting there and we're walking through the deal. And I said, look, guys, we have to take this deal. I mean, your decision here, but like, this is the only one we've got. We had 2 drop off, mainly due to appraisals. You've got to take this deal. So they agreed. They, talked as a family. And as she's signing, she's crying. Tears literally hitting the offer. I'm like, what is happening? Like, are you not happy that you can finally move on? She said, Andrew, we don't have any savings. Like, this house was our savings. We bought it and built it. We're all in for $1 million. We thought we'd have $1 million to go retire on.
Yeah.
And so what that says to me, and that's not the first story as I started to dig into all my other new clients. Most people's entire life savings are in their house.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that I'm assuming this is earlier on in your career, though.
Oh, it's like 7 years ago.
7 years ago, because That seems to be a thing. I didn't realize that a lot of realtors weren't doing it because I always have those conversations with my guys, but it seems I didn't notice it until I think it was Karina or I can't remember who it was. I said it online. They were just saying realtors don't ask enough questions with their clients. They just, someone wants to buy, someone wants to sell, take the deal, move on. But you're not actually figuring out what the motive behind this transaction is.
That's right.
If you know the motive, you can help them a lot better. But we don't seem to be asking these questions. And I'm shocked to see that like a lot of realtors are not doing this.
That's right.
Okay, fair. So tell me about what's happening here with Revel. You've been doing this thing now for how many years?
Revel has their 10th anniversary this year.
Okay, but you've been an integral part of their growth, especially here in Canada. Well, I'll let you elaborate on this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so Revel started by Ryan and Nikki Saravelli 10 years ago.
He's incredible too on social media.
He's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? For so long, everybody thought I owned Revel because Ryan's account was private for so long. He didn't really want to be the guy who's speaking on stage. He didn't really want to be the face of it.
Right.
Right. And so that's how my first role with them came, the director of communications.
Okay.
Because people were reaching out because of my presence.
Right.
And then I forget what it was, the Buzz conference. I show up and Virginia's like, "You don't own Revel?" And I asked you to speak. I'm like, sorry, that's Ryan Saravelli. And then ever since then, we introduced Ryan and Virginia Munden to each other. And Ryan is just an incredible speaker.
Yeah, he's so good.
He can tell a story. And ever since he got more involved in that, the brokerage has doubled its size. And so where do I come in? So as the director of communications, I moved into director of recruitment because we were getting inquiries after inquiries based on my social content and based on my networking and all of that. So I think when I joined, we had like 45, maybe 50, and now we have 400. And I finally hung up my hat Jan 1, 2024 to focus more on the growth of the organization as a whole.
Okay.
Because, we have John Dobingen, who's our franchise. Well, we don't do franchising anymore, but he first came on as our franchising director, and he's the head of new business growth. And so his job, based on his old credentials at Remax, was helping find people to actually open their own Revels.
Right.
And where I came in was to help from a sales standpoint, because John's never been a realtor. He knows his numbers back and forth. But that's where I come in to actually start that relationship from a sales agent side, because people want to know who's doing it, how are they doing it, and is it working?
Yeah.
And so under my director of recruitment role with them, we also opened up, I think we have 29 or 28 offices open. Then we got about 30 in the pipeline.
So just to rewind real quick. So how did you get in the door? Where were you in your career at that point when you made that connection with them to step into that role?
Yeah. So it was just a natural growth progression.
You were just kind of putting yourself out there, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah. I was like, hey, these guys reached out to me. They said they wanted to join Revel. That's how it started.
Oh.
And then it's just happening again and again and again.
Super organic.
Yeah. And then, because here's, we talk about this all the time. And once I moved out of the role, Nikki was like, well, great. Now that Andrew's gone, we can start, making a bigger effort, like making phone calls and doing reach outs, because I made it a point. And I think that I do genuinely believe that protected Revel's brand, especially with the companies out there that are heavy recruiters. And that's all of them, by the way. Excuse me. But I made it a point. Of course I made outgoing calls, but I say that I know outgoing calls. I didn't want people to see my name or Revel's name on their texts, their DMs, their emails, and be like, oh, shit.
Oh, he's calling me.
It's that guy again.
Yeah.
So what I did was I showcased as case studies all of our successful realtors, all of our mentors, all of our people who were opening their own offices. And I just let the success speak for itself, which I think was key, because not only did we have kick-ass parties and we invited people and we got to know them, they got to see our culture, but when they realized that, we were selling more per agent, 8 deals per agent, when the Ontario average was 3.
Yeah.
People started to notice, okay, they have flair, they're young at heart, they have an amazing brand, but they also know their shit and they're credible.
That's dope. And so how many people do you have now on the team?
So I have like at Revel.
Yeah, at Revel.
Yeah.
Your personal agents, because you have 2 offices you were running, you said.
Right. So I've got 2 offices, one in Niagara on the Lake and one in Muskoka.
Okay.
In the Niagara on the Lake office, we have 40 agents total. On my team, we have 15 total people.
Okay.
In Muskoka, we have, I think we got 4 up there. And then Revel as a whole, we have 400. And I think at HQ, we've got probably about 22 plus staff.
That's crazy. Like you're killing it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
collective effort. But
yeah. Another thing that I see with you is you take the work-life balance, the health stuff very seriously.
Yeah.
I see that you're waking up at 4 o'clock. You're out there in the gym. You're sending emails to the staff at like 5 a.m. You're uplifting everybody.
Yeah.
When did that mindset shift happen for you? Were you always this way in the business, or did you realize I need to step up as a leader, right? And to step up as a leader, like I gotta like match that energy first, right?
Yeah.
So again, speak to that if you don't mind.
So true. You have to lead from the front.
Yeah.
And because I'm not in production.
Yeah.
Leading from the front for me is from a personal development standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have our leader, Crystal Simons, who does a great job leading from the front, from prospecting to sales, leads the team. Excuse me. But the reason why I was laughing was because I tried this 4 a.m. thing, 5 a.m. thing years ago.
Okay.
But I was waking up and I was like, what the hell do I do? Like, what do I do? Like, I've got nothing to do. So I start reading books. Okay, that got very boring, right? So and then I just go back to bed. And then as I started having my second and third kid, you know, I'm waking up at 7, whatever, you know, trying to get in, a decent amount of a chunk of work before I get to the office.
Yeah.
And I can't because they're waking up screaming, crying. They want cereal. They want whatever.
Okay.
And then so I start waking up at 6. And the next thing you know, they're waking up at 6. And then I start waking up at 5. They're waking up at 5. So I'm like, God damn it. So now I'm up at 4:30, 4 o'clock, and I tackle the emails right away. I do check our finances right away.
Yeah.
What I do is I create, not consume. So I don't even touch my phone. I do my check-in, but I don't even touch my phone until probably 5:45, 6 o'clock, and then I can work out at 6. So the key here is it's not that I chose to wake up early and that's what makes me successful. Mm-hmm. I know people that roll out of bed at 9 o'clock that are successful.
Yeah.
It's just when I wake up, there's nothing. There's no noise.
Yep.
It's dark.
Yeah.
I have the ability to focus on myself because if you don't have your mind right or your body right, you can't have your team or you can't have your business or you can't have your family right.
For sure.
And so from a personal health standpoint, I have to make sure that I'm healthy. Back in December 20th of 2023, I was diagnosed with blood cancer. So that whole lead up, you know, I've been waking up early probably for about 2 years. And that whole lead up from finding out what was wrong and, you know, that process was starting to the actual diagnosis, I lived in fear, anxiety. I was crippled. I was still trying to put on a facade, but I was working out. I was collapsing. I was crying every 2 fucking minutes because I didn't know what was going on, right? And then, you know, a good client of mine prayed for me.
Yeah.
And she said, Andrew, I want to know exactly what's going on. I need it broken down. And I didn't really understand why because I was religious, but not really religious.
Yeah.
And then that night she prayed for me. I had this crazy powerful dream that I woke up just a different person. I had 3 weeks to find out what was wrong and it didn't matter. I said,
you mean
the diagnosis?
Okay.
Right? Because this was about November.
Yeah.
And then I just woke up a changed person. And so that's part of my morning routine is prayer. And prayer and faith has been a really, really big part of my personal life and my business now for the past 6 months.
So you've recommitted your relationship with God basically over the last 2 years.
Right. And Easter Sunday at 12 o'clock, that client passed away.
No.
I had no idea that she was unhealthy. She didn't tell anybody.
Oh my goodness.
She didn't. And I feel
I'm super sorry to hear.
Yeah, thank you. It took a lot of reflection to really understand what and why that happened. Why did she come into my life at this particular point? We were good clients.
Yeah.
We always talk back and forth. But when I say good client, we have never actually had a transaction yet. Somebody I was nurturing for 2 or 3 years about selling their house, and she didn't tell anybody, and she passed away at Easter at 12 o'clock. So I feel like that was almost like her last mission, was to help transform my life.
There was a purpose there. Like, she was meant to be in your life at that moment. So where are you now with the diagnosis and your health, everything?
Yeah.
You beat it, or
no? So the type of cancer that I have is rare.
It's rare.
It's not even a thought, though. You know what I mean? It's something. It's called JAK2. It's extremely rare, and it basically stays with you for life. You can't get rid of it. You can't flush it out. You really just have to go and check your blood every month.
Okay.
Remember when I was telling you about those levels?
Yeah.
So I'm in a 600 rate for my platelets. You're supposed to be at 300, 200. Once it starts to break that 800, 1,000 mark is when you really got to take things seriously. So there's treatment, but if I take that type of a treatment now, it might harm other healthy cells or organs.
Right.
So I just take a blood thinner every single day.
Okay. And so you find that you're okay, during the days and stuff, you're not getting weak and none of that stuff?
Not really.
The health is okay. I mean, of course the diagnosis is there, but you're not feeling like I can barely get through my days.
No.
On certain days.
No, you have to look past that. You know, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd suffer from headaches most of the day, or do have some type of a weakness. But you just got to push through. That's why I do personal training at 6 a.m.
Right.
I push myself. I fucking hate it. I hate it. But by the end of it, I love it. It's so great. And it's a different style of workout. It keeps my heart rate up, keeps the blood flowing, and then I don't even notice it.
Okay. And so I saw that you were doing you were not cold plunging, but you were outside just in the winter, just out there in just shorts.
Yeah, I don't have a cold plunge. So in the winter, I was just, after my workout, sitting outside bare feet for 7 minutes.
Okay. So you must have an incredible support system that you're able to lean on to help you get through your days then. Your family, your team, everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have our director of ops, Andrea Lombardo, our head admin, Gracie, and she's just amazing. And Andrea's amazing too. And they are literally I don't even know. They're like my second and third wife, I guess you could say. So
they probably came into your life around the time you stepped away from sales then?
No, they've been there for 2 and 3 years now. Okay. And they helped me get to that point.
They help you get to that point.
Yeah.
So 2-3 years ago was when you decided I'm going to back away from sales.
I was going to start that process.
Okay.
So last year I did 8 deals. Normally I'll do personally 40 or 50.
Yeah. Okay. And so do you like this? So that was actually going to be one of my questions for you. It's when I see the way you've grown your business and Revel, it's man, this thing is just moving. Yeah. And I guess I'm speaking from my own personal place, I guess. It's just, do you never worry that thing is getting so big? So many people are so dependent on you. And now you can't really step away from the machine and kind of be with the family or kind of focus on your life for a few years. Or is that not really a thought? You're just enjoying it so much that it's just another, branch of your life right now.
No, I have the structures and the systems in place that I go home at 4 o'clock when everybody else goes home.
Right.
I don't work weekends.
Yeah.
And when the term work-life balance to me doesn't mean anything because I'm always on my phone. And my connections with others, it's ongoing, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't show properties. I don't go to appointments past 4 o'clock or on the weekends.
You are incredible with your communication, by the way. I sent you a DM and I think no more than 5 minutes, we were on a phone call. You literally hit me back and you're like, yeah, I can get on a phone call in 5 minutes. We had this whole thing set up in less than 10 minutes. I was so mind blown because to me, I'm looking at you and I'm like, man, this guy's ready for every opportunity.
That's right.
And you're really out here building your brand and not being selective about the way you do your business right now. You're so confident in what you're doing. You're not really worried about anything else. And I say that because when I'm reaching out to other agents for certain things, not agents, I would just say certain people in the community, you might get certain, comments. I think I mentioned it to you too before, right? Who's your target audience?
Right.
And so my thing with that is it's if you're comfortable, if you're confident in what you're doing, when you show up to the show, you're just going to be able to communicate your message irrespective of the target audience.
That's right. That's right. You know, and God bless the podcast hosts, but there's a lot of them that like getting on a phone call is different. We get to know each other.
Exactly.
But some people send me like 30 questions,
and
they're like, and I'm like, hey, look, you've done a lot of work here. That's amazing, but I don't need that.
Yeah, you just want to go with the flow.
Let's just chat.
Exactly.
But no, you're absolutely right. It's so every time I got my close people and I answer within a ring, they're like, one ring Perry, there we go. And the reason why is it's not because, I got team leaders all the time that say, hey man, you have to show your I don't even know.
Your position. You need to show people that you're so busy that you don't have time to get back to my DM.
That's right.
Or hit me back on a phone call.
That's right.
But it's like you're just so confident.
That's right.
You're so confident.
If I saw that and I didn't respond, there's a likelihood of me not getting back to you at all.
Very likely.
Number two, now this entire process is going to be drawn out, a couple of months, 3 months? And then, you know what, Andrew, thanks for getting back to me, but our spot's actually filled up for April. So how does June or July look?
It's true.
And that's not how I work. I make these connections as fast as possible. I put them in our calendar as fast as possible, and I let my calendar build every single day.
I love it.
I'm usually booked for, usually is 2 weeks solid. I usually have it at any given time. And I'm usually, I don't want to say free. But I'm available for the opportunities that I feel are
you make the time.
There. That's right.
If it's important to you, you'll make the time.
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk about some fun stuff real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the reasons why I wanted Andrew on the show is because of his past before he got into the business. Yeah. So Andrew is actually an incredible musician. That was always the dream. Do we have some of his content up? Andrew, you want to tell me about this? Because this, what's the name of this song again?
So this is Where Did You Go?
Okay.
One of my first singles as a solo artist.
Yeah.
I was a lead singer and screamer of a screamo band called Flatline Endings. And, around this time, I had worked with a guy named Captain Hooks, who's now Monaco Lights. And we had a music video together on Much Music. And so right here, I signed with a company called Clash 21 Records, which was owned by Monaco Lights, who had a record deal with Universal. So I fudged the story a little bit and just say, hey, I got signed by Universal. But it was just an offshoot. And we had, 5 really, really amazing artists that worked with Carl Wolf. That was Young and Denda Square. Yeah, here's that one was our first video. I don't know when I come in, I forget, but I'm the drummer.
I didn't so you were the drummer, you said?
Yep.
That's crazy because I actually remember hearing this song all over the radio.
It was on the radio, it was
everywhere.
on Raptors games, yeah.
Everywhere. So and how much work did you do in the music scene up until that point? Were you
from 14 years old till here, I believe I was 23.
Okay.
So I'd been in the industry for about 10 years. We opened up for Gob, Grade, Not By Choice, Cancer Bats, Attacking Black.
So you had a good exposure in the business. What made you kind of pivot away from there?
Well, as the band broke up, which was Flatline Endings right here.
Yeah.
When the band broke up, there was everybody, there was a time there where I was having a lot of success. And what happened was, I guess you could say it all happened when I got a DUI. So,
okay.
I signed a contract for 6 months.
What kind of contract was it?
To go to Dubai.
To Dubai, okay.
Yep, and to be, the singer of a band at a hotel for 6 months. And we signed the deal. I had a going away party and everything, and then I had the DUI. And then
in Dubai?
Case. No,
I was going to say, how did you escape that?
In Canada, but the thing is that I wasn't actually driving, but that doesn't matter. I was still sitting in the car. I had the tunes on. We had just recorded a new song with me and Captain Hooks. And I was at my buddy's apartment. We went downstairs in the parking lot, turned on my truck, cranked this music, had a smoke, had a couple of drinks, and then the cop pulled up.
Oh, because the ignition was on.
Yeah, you
can't have the keys in the ignition when you're drinking.
You can't even be sitting in the car.
You can't even be sitting in the car. Yeah, that's
so
right.
It was a dumb move.
Yeah.
The court case fell during the middle of the contract. So the Dubai contract, those owners there would not let me leave the country even for 2 days to go do the court date. And yeah, they were actually trying to convince me to miss the court date. I'm like, no, you can't miss the court date.
Right.
That's how you have a warrant and you get arrested when you land the plane.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go to jail.
That's right. So I decided to cancel that contract. And then after that, I won the court case, right?
Yeah, of course.
It was just a big reflection time. I'm like, okay, so where do we go from here?
Right.
I'm not really making much money. As a matter of fact, I was basically making nothing.
Yeah.
I was acting like I was making a lot of money, partying a lot.
That's part of the music business.
Yeah,
Fake it till
it was
you make
a lot
it.
of smoke. It was a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And then I got a sales job at LA Fitness, and then my life just changed from there.
So it wasn't hard to just be like, I'm going to give up on this and move towards sales. It was just more of a realistic decision.
So my passion and addiction was music, and partying, and the adrenaline I got from being on stage. But the adrenaline that I got from making a sale was equal, if not greater.
But you wouldn't have known that until you made your first sale, though.
That's right.
So you kind of had to take a leap of faith in that.
That's right.
In that
I
sense.
even told my manager, Scott Holiday, he's now, one of my good friends. I said, hey, look, I'll try this thing with you, no problem, but I still need to go to the studio in Toronto every once in a while and bang out some tunes. And he's like, yeah, okay, but at LA Fitness, you can't really miss days of work, so make sure it's on the days that you don't have work. And I said, okay, and then I just basically stopped doing music right then and there.
Okay, so you don't play anything now, like no instruments now? You don't try to make music in your off time, just as like a passion, just for yourself?
Yeah,
I feel like the answer is yes. You're not going to say it.
I've sung at people's weddings.
Okay.
I had a good friend of mine, Shandell, who asked me to sing their first dance.
Okay.
So I did Calvin Harris, Close to You. And then I sung their daddy-daughter dance. And then I did another wedding with the bride. We sang. So I've done a couple of things, but no
urge to get back into creating.
my fingertips are soft now, but I still do play the guitar, pick it up around the campfire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you find all the stuff that you're doing now in terms of all the venues that you're going to go speak at conferences, the content that you make, that kind of fills that void of creativity right now?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and you get that feedback too, right? From the people when you're in front of an audience and you're speaking to them.
When a video pops off, it's the same feeling, but nothing beats being on stage and speaking.
Yeah.
And true, because I remember as a kid, and I'm always envisioning this big stage, this arena, and I always just figured it was me and my guitar and a microphone. But as I see it now, and it switched from blurry to clear.
Yeah,
it's just me and a microphone.
Yeah,
and so my duty in life is to fulfill that dream. And the most people I've talked to in front of is 3,000 people, and I need to bump that up to 10.
Oh, that's awesome! So you feel like you're living your dream right now?
I absolutely do.
I love
100%, man. And every day I'm just so excited to wake up because I know, I knew that this was going to create some type of opportunity. Every single day is a different opportunity. And whether it works out or not, I'm just excited to find it.
Amazing. So would you say like the content stuff that you did kind of helped you get to that level, or it's really all the other practices that you had in your business? Exposure wise.
Yeah, I think I was
Of course, your business is built on the strength of how you.
Well, here's the thing. Like when I started speaking, it was easy because, fake it till you make it. The smoke, people saw me, and I did the whole thing. I did the suit, the Mercedes driving the.
Yeah.
I did it all, the lifestyle shoots, and that I was the first person basically to do it in my area, so I was getting noticed faster. You can't get away with that anymore. But I'm just fortunate that I didn't lose focus of the true important thing, which is sales. You have to have your foundation. You can't give up sales.
Yeah.
I know too many influencers or speakers that,
don't do sales, but they're doing everything else.
And that's okay, but you're not getting paid for these gigs. Most of them, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah. You're just doing it for the exposure.
I get flights, I get hotels for some of the bigger ones, but for the local stuff, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
And so if you're removing yourself consistently and not getting paid, then eventually, what are you going to talk about? Because this is the real estate space. You can't talk about sales or systems or structures or foundations if you are not doing them because they're not working, because everybody has access to the data, right? So I knew that I needed to not give up on that one thing, which is the moneymaker, which is the sales.
So did you have a mentor to kind of instill that in you? Because when I look back at your YouTube page, 7 years ago, you were making content. You were making content in your car, just talking to the camera. And it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who was really doing that in the business at that time?
Right.
But you were just being yourself on camera, putting out the content. You may not have had any direction or even feedback from the videos you were doing, but you were still consistent. Like, I'm looking back, there's tons of videos there. Yeah. So who was pushing you and telling you that this is the right thing to do? Or how did you have the confidence to just continue to do it if you weren't getting the feedback that you were looking for?
I don't really know how to answer that question. I just knew that it was the right thing to do for me, and I knew that I needed to do it. So I just had so what I do is when I learn something new, I can't stop talking about it. And so I felt that, I wasn't even a realtor in some of those videos, like from the early days.
Okay.
I'm just talking about sales.
Yeah.
And I just knew that, okay, what's the fastest way to let everybody know that I'm in sales in real estate now as well? And that was just the first thing that came to my mind is like, let's share some information. So I've always been sharing information with more of a sales or a business focus and less of a, how can I help you sell your house? So my content's always based on the fundamentals.
Which is cool. I think that's why this comes so easily for you or naturally for you. You're so like it's just a part of who you are as a person, which is why you're so comfortable in this space.
Yeah. I remember my fucking parents bring it up all the time. I was 3 years old, buck naked, singing into a turkey baster, at Thanksgiving for my entire family. It's just who I'm not. I've never been, do I, sometimes think about what others are saying? Yeah, sometimes, but for the most part, I really don't give a shit.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
Well, because if I suck, I care.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to go up and put a bad product out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I could care less if they're look at Andrew Perry is on every podcast in Ontario. Look, so what?
So what?
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
My business is 90% agent referrals because of these podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you make that switch, like the agent to agent referral being such a big part of your business? Or was that from day one?
Year one.
So you started
so funny
with
because I did 8 or 9 referrals in my first year in business.
Okay.
And I remember, posting my first year anniversary post, and all the realtors that I did referrals with were like, you didn't tell me you're only in your first year. I'm like, you never asked, right? But you're happy, right? Your clients were happy. So it's just, I knew something was there, but I never annoy people. That's the biggest thing. It's like, there are certain people when I see them in my DMs, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So I never did that. I talked about how I could help realtors.
Yeah.
And there was never a call to action. There was never even, I don't even say on the end of the videos, subscribe. If I'm doing like a particular ad or something now, yeah, but I never do anything like that. So people, they don't feel threatened when, like, sometimes I can't even watch a video of some people because I know there's something coming. I'm like, shit, he's gonna ask me to do something, right? So it's like, I never wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
And it works for me.
Yeah.
Am I going to sign up 1,000 people in a year? Maybe not. But I might have 100 or 50 or 10 of the strongest willed people that are going to fight for me in their corner as a walking, talking billboard for my business.
I love it. Andrew, the way you've done everything, I admire so much. I hope that I can build my social media presence similar to the way you have. I'm brand new to this space. I just started 4 weeks ago building content. So if you ever have any advice, please share it with me. I would love it.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So how we doing for time, boys? We're good? What are we at right now? Oh, wow. We had a good, this is the longest pod that we've had so far.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that you wanted to cover? Anything else that you wanted to cover that we missed?
Well, you know what? I think the big thing is that what you can expect from me and how you can be involved in your listeners and your viewers, how they can be involved in the movement that, I'm starting to create.
I would love, if you want to expand on that.
Well, I'm working on a very, very big educational platform.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also going to be tied in with a very, very specific technology platform that is only going to be a benefit to the real estate industry.
Okay.
It's going to be a very heavily backed process. That's basically all I can say.
Yeah.
We're going to be teaming up with one of the largest data-driven technology companies in the real estate space to get this out there. And plus, it's going to time perfectly with our show that got released, Lakefront Luxury on A&E.
Yes.
Season 4 came out, but we just got renewed. I got the news for season 5, so we'll be doing another season next year. So that's going to be all timing with that season, with the education platform, with the technology platform, working on a book. So we're going to be doing the entire coaching process through me, through education. But it's not going to be it's not going to be like any coaching program that's out there where you're on the hook for a few grand. It's not going to be like that.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. I guess we can't talk too much about the education side.
Right.
I'll just leave it at what you kind of said.
It's going to be everything from beginner to amateur to pro. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, yeah, because you're a few days or some time away from making your announcement. When you do, I guess hopefully you'll come back on the show, and we will talk a bit more about it. The A&E show, you could talk about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, tell me about that a little bit.
So you know what? Just like I wanted to be a musician, I also wanted to be an actor. I did a couple of commercials.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I did a few auditions.
Okay.
But,
anything that we would have seen you in?
One was like a Pringle commercial.
Okay.
But the thing about real estate is before real estate shows were cool, like HGTV was still around. I want to be on HGTV. That's just how I want to leave my mark on the industry.
Right.
I want to have a good, solid background and credibility. But I want to be a face of the industry. It's something I've always wanted. So my first couple of years, I did a shit ton of auditions for HGTV, Cottage Life, never ever got anything. And Prime came to Toronto. Another HGTV show came even as recently as last year. I auditioned, didn't get a fucking call, and I'm like, what the hell? And they only wanted Toronto agents, to be fair, for the one. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, I live in Toronto, no problem. They probably looked me up and said Niagara's best realtor or something.
Yeah.
Show, and then I was like, you know what? I've been trying this for a while. I'm just going to, move on.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, a few weeks later, after that last audition, I just get this random email in my inbox. Said, hey, Andrew, we noticed you have this beautiful cottage listing in Barry's Bay, $3 million. We'd love to shoot it for a TV show called Lakefront Luxury. I'm like, woo, here we go. So that's how it happened. I had my first virtual call with them, and they're like, yeah, we love you. We want to get you on the show. And so the show is basically, I take around a buyer, and we show 3 different houses, and at the end they choose one. Very simple process. The only thing that's a little bit different for me is that I was coming in loud, my personality. And director Marshall, he's a great guy. He's like,
tone it down a little bit. Quiet it down a little bit.
He's like, we've got a process here, Andrew. He's like, what you're doing is great, I'm sure, but we've got a process, so just tone it down. So, and I completely respect that. It's a process. The entire TV concept. Was such a really, really cool experience, and now that type of exposure helped me get those types of meetings with those big tech guys.
Right.
Get me meetings with some other celebrity realtors that I can't talk about right now. Okay. But something's coming really, really big.
Maybe.
Yeah. And it's just a really cool experience. I'm excited to do it. But actually before that, I left out this piece. Chorus actually commissioned me to do my own pilot. So I spent 10, 12 grand, commissioned my own pilot. The audio got completely fucked from the producers. At the end of the show, we're like, after 4 days of filming, like intensely, it was such a good show. It had a little bit about the brokerage, a little bit about the team meetings, a little about the process of how we got the client, how we met them, and how we set up their search, the actual search, and then the actual offer, and then them cheersing at our winery at the end of the night. So,
damn it. And the whole thing is scrapped now. It's not salvageable at all.
I still plan on posting the 3-part, which was a 1 episode. We'll see how it goes. But that's still the goal as well, is to get our own reality show or our own, something.
So do you feel, because you have a really big network and you have quite a bit of eyes on you right now, you've already gone through the process. You know how to build a show. You actually did it yourself because you hired the crew. Do you not want to maybe just take a leap of faith and just try to build this thing out yourself?
Yes.
Put it out there to the world and see if you could grow it by yourself
So that's what
independently?
everybody has been telling me, even before I spent the 10 grand.
Okay.
They said, why don't you do this on YouTube and just do your own?
Straight up, yeah.
And I was just like, I let my ego get in the way. And I said, wow, I mean, Chorus is here. We're in talks with other networks. Like, let's just try it. So, but yeah, I know.
I think you could do it. I mean, and especially when you're looking at the competition, who's your competition? Right? I don't see why you couldn't do it, especially because you have the know-how. I think it's just a matter of jumping in and executing on the idea.
Yeah, I thought about it. Trust me. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we will.
Okay. So when is the second season coming out now?
We start filming in May, end of May.
Okay, so how many episodes are there going to be? Are you going to be on?
I don't know yet. Last season I was on 2. Yeah.
Okay. Last season you were on 2 episodes, and how many episodes in a season? 12 episodes. Okay.
Like that. Yeah. I came on the team. They had already filmed majority of the season.
Okay. Yeah. So any other shows in the pipeline potentially?
No, that's it for now.
Okay.
But I think, like I said, with all those coaching emails that I did, I had somebody reach out for a book. So we're working on the book, the education, the tech, and then the next filming. So it's going to be a busy next 12 months.
Okay. How much of this are we going to see in the next, within this year, 2024?
I think you'll see the tech by the end of the year, 100%.
I'm super excited about the tech. Yeah. So when are you?
I would love to share what it's about, but people can steal the idea.
So when are you going to do the official announcement on that? You know yet?
Oh, once we have the copyrights and.
Okay, so you're still working on the logistics right now.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else that you wanted to that I may have missed?
Well, I just keep your ears peeled for another big announcement. We got the PR companies designing everything right now for my next role with Revel Realty. It's going to be a higher elevated role.
Yes,
and it's going to be something that there's going to be a lot of weight on my shoulders to get this thing international. But that's basically it.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned it. So you're going to be taking this brand international, basically.
That's right.
Andrew's going to be the guy, basically now.
So I'm the go-to guy at Revel for any.
Okay, I didn't know if I was allowed to say that.
Yeah,
so you said
absolutely.
It. So okay, perfect.
Yeah, for all realtors, for franchises, for offices, for international, everything.
So the agents that now want to work with you, now you have a way to support them. Because I did see that in a previous podcast that you had done. You were saying that a lot of people would reach out to you, but you just didn't know how to facilitate these agents because they're in different regions or whatever it is, right? Different cities.
That's right.
And now you're developing the systems, or you're going to have the systems to facilitate all these people. So agents that are a fan of Andrew Perry, you guys get to work with him. No matter what market, you're going to be able to work with him now in the very near future.
Right now, we have the systems in place.
Okay.
Yeah, we're implementing some very, very big things at the brokerage as well. So that's another part of the PR.
Okay.
I can give one thing away, which is standard for most brokerages, is we're adding caps. It's just something that our brokerage has never had. But we're growing with the market, and then we're throwing some innovation pieces as well. So we're creating partners within the brokerage as well. I'll just say that, but it's going to be very big.
Are we going to see you in Durham or anywhere?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we've got people on deck that are going to come forward when we release this news in a big way for sure.
Okay. Okay.
We're always looking for great leaders too. So if you know anybody who's looking to take their team to the next level, those are what works best, is those teams that are doing like 70 deals, 80 deals, 100 plus deals that want to take their business and community to the next level, is they go and they open their own brokerage.
Right.
And we help facilitate
the infrastructure. You're providing
we do it all. We do the broker of record. We do the back end. We do the trades. We do the accounting. We do the marketing. We do the recruiting. We do the training.
So for them, it's just basically plug and play at that point. They just have to be down with the brand.
That's right.
Okay. And where do you see Revel 5 years from now in the Canadian market?
In the Canadian market, we'll certainly be in 3 provinces.
Okay.
For sure. And then we'll probably be in 3 different states as well by that time.
Amazing. And one more thing. Revel has the, what is it? Not a kickback, but what is it? When you bring other agents on, Brian, I'm forgetting the term right now. The rev sharing.
Like rev sharing?
Yes, rev sharing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the process. No, it's not in there.
No.
Okay, got it.
But that might be what is coming in the pipe.
Okay.
It might be coming down the pipe.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. Listen, Andrew, I could sit here and talk with you for another hour, but I know you're I know you're on a tight schedule. If there's anything else that you'd like to cover, I would want you to come back.
Yeah, of course.
Did you have a good time?
This is great, man. I love it.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, Andrew, thank you so much for being here with us. I have to reiterate to the audience, Andrew took so much time out of his day to be here with us, and for us, we're just starting out. We're brand new. To have somebody like Andrew join us, it means a lot to me. Especially with all the people that I've been dealing with. So, Andrew, thank you so much.
Yeah.
If there's anything that we could do for you in the future, I would love to. Just ask, and we're here for you.
Okay.
And I'd love to pack up the show and come over to you one time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay,
Appreciate
buddy.
it. It was a great episode, guys.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.